He's right there. He's a bucket guy, and he's got the mentality and the talent to do it. And once he senses that he can take advantage of the defense, he's very agile with the basketball. He knows how to use his body. He knows how to draw fouls. He's patient. He never picks up his dribble till he's able to make a decision. And he's strong, and he's a pure shooter when he gets going. So he's not going to be stopped unless he's double teamed and get the ball out of his hands. And when he's going on a night like tonight, it just happened to happen during the playoffs in Game 6, and they shot the hell out of the basketball collectively.
When you look at this team, they ran their plays with precision. There was no hesitation to how they moved the basketball. They knew exactly where they wanted to be on the court. The players knew, and they were there. And it's amazing when you playing that well and that good in the playoffs in a hostile environment. They didn't care. They came out and said, we're going to run our offense, and we're going to try to run the Lakers off the court. And it is hard in the playoffs to run your offense with that precision because you're as a defensive team, you're planning for this team. But if you watch Devin Booker come off those picks, you watch Devin Booker, they had a whole game plan once Devin Booker got hot. Every play went to him. There was drives and kicks. You would say, if you tell me Chris Paul only had 8 points in this game, I'm saying we won this game. But it was just too much Devin Booker, and they had no way to stop him.
Let's talk Lakers, guys. Here's the bottom line. They didn't shoot the ball well enough. All year, mostly. Outside of that start where they were on fire, first couple months, they really struggled. They struggled down the stretch, and they struggled in this series.
Yeah.
Just 30% from three, James. They weren't consistent enough shooting the basketball, and they didn't hit the timely ones. And to win championships and to win series, you have to. And we could break this game down a lot of different ways. We'll talk injuries in a little bit. But bottom line, when you're talking about what happened on that court, Lakers didn't shoot well enough to win.
Yeah, and what are the things that we've been talking about for the last 3 or 4 years? We need shooters. We've tried to bring in, this didn't work out. We finally thought that we had, shooters with Wes Matthews and, guys like that. Kuz shooting threes.
In the first 20 games, James, they were the best shooting team Lakers ever had.
We showed signs that the three was starting to come around. Unfortunately, it didn't last very long. And in tonight's game, Geeter, I don't care who's on the floor. AD, LeBron, they had shots, and they just didn't go down. Matthews had shots. Shooter had shots. They're not falling. And when threes aren't falling in the NBA, you're usually falling in the lost column.
The thing about it is, I think sometimes, we always talk about shooters. I just think the Lakers need a guy who can get buckets. Because if you look at Devin Booker, he gets buckets. He's a shooter, but he can get buckets inside the three, outside the three. And for the Lakers to, be successful, you got to have someone who can get buckets because these guys now are dependent on the three ball so much. And when that's not falling, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
So they need to find a way with someone to drive, get a two, get some buckets, and just play basketball. But they depend on this three so much, and it's starting to hurt them.
When you see the train go off the tracks, you know it. And you try to piece it back together. And that's what we saw. I keep going back to where this series turned. Suns get game one, kind of expected, right? You knew they'd come out and fire that, and been in the playoffs in 11 years. Lakers grab game 2 in Phoenix. They get the split. That's what they need. They win game 3. All of a sudden, they have a hold on the series, and you're thinking, okay, Lakers are in control here. It's not going to be easy, but the Lakers got the upper hand. They got home court, up 37-26 in the second quarter, looking pretty good. They go in one of their droughts, game 4, and then AD gets hurt. And it was interesting. It was like, 50 seconds left at half. They're down 4. But the way the teams came out in that third quarter of game 4, the series was changed. The Lakers had to look like they knew something with AD being out. And they just didn't have any look like, hey, we got to fight. We can still win this game, go up 3-1. Flip side of that, Chris Paul has his best game. The Suns smelled blood in the water, James, and they attacked. We know what happened in game 5, and we saw the way they came out in game 6. They saw it. They went and got it. And the Lakers just never recovered after that injury.
And it wasn't that the Suns, in my opinion, it wasn't that they saw that the Lakers Davis went down. I mean, we knew that. I think they sensed that the Lakers didn't have that fight.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have that that tenacity to compete. Players go down from time to time, but it's how you respond. And I think that's what Phoenix kind of sensed. They're like, oh, they depend on AD way too much, and they're not really, playing defense, doing the things. And so teams can sense that. You can sense when somebody's afraid of you.
Yeah.
You can, not that the Lakers were afraid, but you can sense when there's doubt and, insecurity there. And I think that's what CP3 and Monty, the coach, I think that's what they picked up on. And, they showed laid the hammer down after that.
I look at, if I was coaching the Phoenix Suns and I had the pleasure of getting to know Monty when I was with the Spurs, he's looked at them and said, okay, the Lakers are an old team. We're a young team. Press the issue. Go at them. And when AD went down, it's just really go at them. If you watch how the Suns play, they play fast. They play careless, but in a good way. They play up-tempo. And the Lakers would come down on that offensive end and slow it down and try to run an offense. But no, the Suns would come down. They would move the basketball. They would get shots up in 10 seconds and was trying to put the pressure because if you think about it, he says, okay, LeBron is up in age. AD is hampered. Drummond is not a sprinter. Gasol is not a sprinter. KCP is hampered. You got all these issues you can point at. So the Suns had a really good game plan. They just went at the Spurs. When they, like you said, they saw blood in the water, they sped up the game because they knew that they weren't going to go to the bench because the bench had been playing. There was some inconsistencies of the people coming off that bench.
When you're the champions, there's always this thing in your mind, whether you're a fan or whether you're an analyst or whether you work for this network, that they're going to get it together. They're going to flip the switch. They're going to be okay. They just got to get healthy. I feel like after the first 27 games, listen, it was a short off season, but this team's 21-6. Things just started happening where they couldn't recover. Like Valentine's Day, February 14th, Gasol, COVID, out for 2 weeks. AD goes out. He misses 36 games. They start to get things together. Dennis goes out for 4 games. Get him back. Start to roll again. Solomon Hill falls into LeBron's leg. He's out. Then AD comes back. Then he misses again. Caruso. And then finally get everyone back. Dennis is gone for 2 weeks. Like, you add Drummond. You're trying to fit pieces. You're getting guys off the waiver. It was just, James, it just wasn't your year, right?
It wasn't, Geeter. And, it's not that you don't make excuses because, teams go through similar situations. But the Lakers were with that little donut tire, that spare tire, that little one that only lasts about 30 days. They were with that tire the whole season. And sometimes they had 2 of them on. And so you cannot, your car is not going to perform the way, it'll get you where it's supposed to go. But they just did not have 4 good racing tires on that car for a long enough time to sustain the season. Now, look, you do have to make adjustments. With a spare, you got to put that spare on. You still got to run some laps and still run the race. And they didn't have that fortitude. They didn't have the strength. Or for some reason, this team just fell apart when the injury started to happen. They just didn't have the fight. They just didn't. Guys didn't step up like they usually do. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why they're just tired from last year or injuries or subconsciously something going on. But they should have had the fight. Caruso playing on that foot. I didn't even realize he had left the game until, I heard the announcement. So it was just difficult.
Yeah, that kind of flew under the radar. All of a sudden, Caruso's just not coming back.
The crazy thing is about it, this year was a short year. And then you put in all these new pieces.
Yeah.
It'd been different. They had the same team they had last year. They had a little, continuity going on. But this is a totally different team from last year. They don't have the same team. And now they go out big. They get a big acquirement with Drummond. He comes in raging. And there's so many things that happen. They never came together. And you have to come together as a team to form that fist. You can slap me all day, but if you punch me with a fist, it's going to hurt. And they never came together as that fist. It was just always a slap. And you got to have that when it comes to playoff time. You got to have that continuity. You got to have that togetherness. And they never came together. Think about this. They had so many lineups. I've never seen this many lineup changes in a playoff game. First game series. It's changed. It was no consistency on the coaching staff side, no consistency on the player side from being injured and being, with COVID. So it was just an inconsistent year.
At what point when you saw AD start this game did you know it wasn't going to last long?
When they put a camera on him, his face was grimacing the whole way down the court. I was like, it's a wrap.
Yeah. Gave it a go, but lasted only 5 minutes. All right, let's get you to the highlights. Lakers back at home. It's a must-win situation. It's a game 6 for the Suns. Anthony Davis cleared to play after missing last game. Marc Gasol finds Dennis Schroeder. Good pass, easy finish. Lakers' first basket of the game. Crowder started the game off with a 3. But this was the problem. Devin Booker got Phoenix up 11-5.
Right there.
AD's wincing right there. That's what Rob was talking about. Jay Crowder. Might have been the best game of his life. 3 for 3 from three-point land so far. Lakers going to call the timeout. Just under 7 to go. Off the Booker miss. Lakers going the other way. Dennis, LeBron bullies his way in, James. But AD clearly in pain as he falls to the sideline. He would head to the locker room. It's a wrap for AD.
Yeah, great transition by LeBron. But then right there, one of the things Rob said he probably shouldn't do is track and try to block. That's a lot of extending of the legs, the way you land. He wasn't ready from the beginning. It was a good Willis Reed moment for him to come on the court, but never ready.
KCP, the Rainbow 3. Lakers within 6. Rob, take it from here. Devin Booker was on another level.
Yeah, Booker was, hey, he was playing chess and he was playing checkers. So you got to understand when a guy gets hot like that, Booker is an insane shooter. He can shoot from anywhere, anytime. This dude scored 70 points in the game. So when he's out here letting it fly like this, you are in trouble.
Suns on 11-0 run. It's another one from Booker beyond the arc. And
same play. Milk it.
And another one. Yeah, 22.6 of 6 from three-point land. 36-14 after 1. Second quarter, THT misses the 3. Lakers fail to get the offensive rebound after it's batted around. Cameron.
Yeah, look, Phoenix Suns has been doing this all year long. One of the better three-point shooting teams in the league. And this, when it rains, it pours. This is a turnover, unnecessary, out of bounds. Phoenix executing well. You can see ball getting in the middle of the paint, moving on the baseline, and a foul.
48-24 Suns. KCP. Lakers on an 8-0 run. Devin Booker. Every time you're on a run, Rob, you talk about a guy that gets buckets. That's what you were talking about earlier. No matter how he gets them, whether it's the 3 or to the rack, he's got it.
Yeah, he was coming out. When they needed a big bucket, he got 2s also. So it ain't always about 3s.
LeBron gets the Lakers within 20. Kuzma misses the 3. Suns in transition. KCP fouls Torrey Craig as he goes up for the finish. They're going to review this for like 17 minutes. They're going to have a couple tees. James, they call it a flagrant 1. A couple technicals issued.
Yeah, he took a hard swipe at the ball and hit the arm. To me, not a flagrant, but good hustle by Wes Matthews, who's proven to be a pretty good offensive rebounder for this team.
62-41 for the half. Let's go to the third. Chris Paul. He and DeAndre Ayton with a quiet game 6, but 8 with a great series overall. Gasol dishing.
Gasol's an excellent passer. He was diming guys up tonight. Right here you see LeBron takes a shot. Look at Twin hustling, kicks it out the shooter for Trey Ball.
West for 3.
Here we are off to the races. LeBron James finally getting downhill, getting to the bucket for a layup for 2 points in the paint.
The only momentum of the game, Gator, that I felt like the Lakers had was right here in the third, where it looked like they had energy. LeBron was going north-south. The team looked like they had picked up the energy a little back for effort in this comeback.
And it was nice to hear something, Rob. You know what that is? That's fans.
Yes, the fans were raging, as you would say.
Yeah.
LeBron's getting to the hole, getting buckets in the paint.
It's just nice to hear staples like that again, you know?
Yeah.
Like I said, win a championship, got robbed of that feeling of hearing that crowd. Would have been incredible last year. Wes Matthews. Great hustle by Wes. Look at this. Lakers down by 12. But under 3. And this is where it just wasn't going your way, right, James? Johnson goes up for the finish. It's going to be a flagrant. They're going to review it.
If Keith just goes straight up,
Yeah.
I think he'd have been fine. The coming down part was the part that hurt him. But here you see THT moving and probing, and he gets in the paint, score one of his 2 points for 12 on the night.
But then he's going to get called for a ridiculous foul running down. James, you weren't real happy in the conference room.
Yeah, I have to say that they need to reform the NBA referees a little bit. They're too involved in the game, and it's a distraction. Away from the ball, not anything to do.